what we learned about Brian Ortega versus Frankie Edgar, man. Oh, man, what a fight this was, really, because it was just a show of just how much bigger Brian Ortega was, because I really think that was a huge factor in this fight. Brian Ortega said this morning on MMA Hour that he came in at on the, not on the MMA, I don't know what I'm talking about. He said it on the press conference. He said he was weighing 164 pounds on the fight. I was like, wow, that's absolutely crazy. He was probably 20 pounds, 15 pounds heavier than Frankie Edgar. And I know Frankie Edgar has always fought up. He fought 155 pounds. Those fights when you see him against Benson Henderson, he just looks extremely undersized. But I think what we learned about Frankie Edgar is maybe it's finally time for him to move down to that 135-pound division and give it a go there. Because you could tell on that first takedown attempt when he did his thing where he always does this same entry in almost all his fights where he'll come in with the 1-2 to the body flurry, go up to the head, and after he goes up to the head with his 1-2 flurry of punches, he'll drive hard on a double leg takedown. He did the same thing against Brian Ortega, and when Brian Ortega snatched that neck, and Frankie Edgar, I think, felt how heavy, how big he truly was, I think he did not want to do that again, and that's how he got caught, man. Frankie Edgar's not a guy that's usually in clinch range, usually in the dirty box range. I think he just fell asleep there and got hit with that elbow, and then the uppercut was just vicious, man. But Frankie Edgar started to do the same thing where he was going to the body up top, the entry. And I think Brian Ortega started to read that, and when he started to read that Frankie wasn't using the double leg after it because Frankie did not want to put himself in danger, he read that he could land that elbow, and then that uppercut wasn't even tight, man. That thing was thrown like from fucking Australia, bro, all the way to the bottom of the map, and it was just, woo! That was a uppercut from hell right there. And for Frankie Edgar, what a warrior, man. Gave up his title shot to save the card, and nothing but respect there. Frankie's one of the greatest of all time, but I think what we learned as well is that Brian Ortega is a legitimate threat to Max Holloway, and that is a super fight in my opinion. That's, in my opinion, the best featherweight fight since Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. It really, truly is. It's that good. I think Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway is that good. Brian Ortega now has defeated Cub Swanson and Frankie Edgar back-to-back by finish. He was the first person to finish Frankie Edgar, the first person to knock out Clay Guida. He's really doing a lot of things that no people have ever done in the UFC, man. It's really impressive, and he's doing it so impressively that first round, who would have thought that his striking was just that clean, looked that crisp? It was just a thing of beauty, man, and I'm just really intrigued about that fight. That's one of my most anticipated fights of the year now. I really want to see what happens between Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway, because it's really hard to deny what either of them are doing right now. It's like, who the hell are you going to pick in that matchup? Really tough. But, man, I think what we learned is that Frankie Edgar maybe should finally give the 135 bantamweight title run a chance, and that Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway is a legitimate super fight and the best featherweight fight since Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo.